All right, here we go again. Buckle up. So guess what? I finally, I don't know why they didn't check, you know, the order. They kept telling me to call Amazon. It still doesn't make sense that it's delivering via Amazon, right? Because it's coming from their warehouse. So not from Amazon warehouse, but from the manufacturer's warehouse in the United States. So it still don't make 100% sense. But I have a delivery date now. Right. Well, because it didn't make sense because Amazon delivers in 24 hours, right, or less, right? That particular item or things like it. So it makes no sense that it would have taken this long. Right? But then he just explained it. And again, it's traveling similar to the other. I just got my reservoir for the other item. Again, I forgot to talk to you. Well, I'm trying to tell him like, can't they sell like maybe I don't know what they could charge for that. Make still again they don't have to make money off it. They just got to break even, right? I'd pay a little bit of money. Like if they sell me four for $20 or something like that, I'd buy them. Like the little reservoir at the bottom that it breaks on the sinugator. If it falls in the sink, that's it, cracked for some reason, right? So I would rather, I don't want to have to call them every time I need one. And again, I don't want them to have to give it to me free. Just charge me like $20 or something. Say, give me four, sell me $5 a piece or something, and then I can put four in my apartment. And if it falls and breaks, I just put the new one on. Right? When they don't sell the part, I can't say, hey, send me four. No, it kept breaking. I kept returning it. Finally, I contacted. No guarantee that it won't. So I have actually two models now. Right? But I told them it was missing a part, and I think the deep state took it. Right? PSYOP. But they can't send me the part. They're sending me a whole nother one. Thank you. But when it comes to the deep state, if something they do causes that, they get mad. That's what used to happen in my life. I mean, it's nothing major, but like they would screw me somehow, and then something would correct and make it better. Right? It's impossible. It hasn't been happening for probably over a decade. Right? That's supposed to happen. If they attacks you and like they steal a part out of your thing, you're supposed to get a whole nother one or even two. Right? It's just the way it works. Right? It's not a major part, but they couldn't send it to me. And again, it's a small part. So I sit there looking for it on the floor for like an hour or two. They get off stealing shit from me and then have me look for it, like my keys and stuff like that. They get off on it. They're sick. So my recommendation in Venezuela is just get rid of that anti-Maduro thing. He's not really communist. He's not really communist, okay? I'm not saying he's a great leader. I mean, he does his leader style. It's his nation. I don't approve everything he does, but there's no reason to have it going on the way it is. Right. You might be able to get some more oil out of that. Right. Actually, but we can also just it's just a lot easier to just send people back to Venezuela. Whatever I mean, he has to be reasonable on whatever negotiation is, but negotiate. He wants you to negotiate face to face with him, and of course, some of the sanctions he wants listed. We've lifted the sanctions before, right, or partially. Well, let's just get it done, right? I mean, I'd rather send. I mean, it makes more sense to send support to Africa than have sanctions on Maduro still, right? Well, if you actually had negotiated with him over the past 8 years, he'd probably be at a point that he'd feel comfortable stepping down and just letting the New World Order take over. Correct. But you have to develop that relationship, and you can't if you fly in drones around trying to kill him or sending SEALs over there. Right. Thank you. And when you keep that environment, they're more likely to oppress those that don't support Maduro. Again, there's a whole psychology to all of this. Right. I mean, the people you work for or work for you are supposed to know how to run these programs and how to run the psychology so it's beneficial. I mean, you don't just sit there and put sanctions on Venezuela and just play games for for 10 years or whatever it is, 15 years, right? Because now you want to deport people to Venezuela and you can't, and they're telling you not to make a deal. Like Maduro and his inside circle are not going to suffer because of sanctions. Okay, so it makes no sense. Correct. Right. I mean, he's going to eat steaks at whatever that guy's place is, Salt Bay. He's eating Salt Bay steaks. So again, you're all insane. I told you to start negotiating like 10 years ago. Chavez, Chavez is a little bit better. I thought we did negotiate a little bit with him. Well, again, the reality is Trump's not against real communism. Like, if you were to if you were going to have a program where you have a state-run McDonald's and you give people free Big Macs, he wouldn't be against it. And that's what Chavez did. He had the arepas, which are like the Big Macs of Venezuela and Colombia. So again, that was a good program. I was glad to see that he did that. Well, because a lot of times people say they're communists and they won't do things like that. So he had places where they made these cheese. It's kind of like cheese on an English muffin. Actually, a little bit different, but again, that would be one way. Right. And it's kind of a staple food. It's called pupusas in El Salvador. You've probably seen the restaurants and stuff. They say pupusas, right? So that was one of the programs that Chavez did well. Well, because they usually don't take care of the people; they just bullshit. So it's kind of sad. It was kind of sad when Chavez died. I mean, I tried countering some of his stuff a little bit, but I thought maybe we could negotiate there and make it a better place for everyone. Again, that's the idea. Negotiate, make it a better place for everyone. Again, you're scumbagging people that are going to be in government 5 years, 10 years from now. Because if you keep that going, it's going to keep going. If you stop it, people in 5 years from now might go, hey, Venezuela, how about Chavez or how about Maduro step down? And we try to, letting the people select a new leadership. Right? And we'll give you certain guarantees. Right. Thank you, Larry. But I don't know how that would work. So. Right, because 5 years ago, 10 years ago, they kept it going and we're still stuck. And now you're trying to deport people. And I don't know. Have you even tried to negotiate? What did he ask for? He definitely wants you to negotiate with him. He's not going to accept anything from El Salvador. Correct. Agreed. And when you word it, again, they worded it so it stung a little bit, so he wasn't going to accept it. Right. Give us some of the people you're oppressing or something like that. I mean, that's not the way to do it. Right. In fact, we just want them gone. We don't want anything in return like that. We don't need. But I guess there is some. I think there's some Americans in jail over there. We could work that out. You could work that out if the United States government directly negotiated and just no emotion. Don't cast shit on him. Don't cast shit on the situation. Just speak straight up. Introduce yourselves. Sit down. Say something like we're looking for. To make our although we might disagree now and in the future, we want to make our relationship of a mutual benefit to all of us and your people. We want everybody to improve their whatever, you want to call it, their lives from what we're going to do. So let's, in the spirit of that, let's begin our negotiations. And of course they'll know you're there to try to work a deportation deal and maybe release some prisoners. Again, you might have to give him something, or maybe strike up an oil deal with him, where you'll pay him money through oil for oil, like, if he wants to do that. I tried to explain to you what Putin does when Kim comes. When Kim comes, he gives him something, and Kim goes back home the hero and happy. Leader Kim, that is. Right. Yeah, Kim goes to China. They do the same thing. They give Leader King something. He takes it back to his people, and he's the hero, and everybody's happy. Right. That's where you made a mistake. You didn't give something to Kim. You told him you told him just keep going, and we'll give you something later. Don't work with Kim. And again, it doesn't work with Korean, as far as Korean culture. Right. Well, you tried to cuck him. You give us everything, and you'll be our bitch. That's what you tried to do. I don't know what genius told you to do that. Was it Bolton? Thank you, Larry. Thanks, Larry. Everybody gives something to Kim except for us, right? We're just going to like bitch him and make him our cuck. Shows you the freaks we got in government. She just moved away. So those are judgments coming in. There are people saying that the woman that was doing this needs to move away. They don't even want her in this community. But again, as you know, people of Overland Park do not own Overland Park. The people of Olathe do not own Olathe. Somebody's taken over, and the system isn't working. Right? But they're using their power and their weight to rule that woman out of the city. And again, there's men involved also. Right? I guess there is a woman, right, that they know about. 100%. Thank you, Larry. So, right. So you need an assessment. The initial thing is the assessment. Again, don't try to hide stuff. I mean, obviously it's in the news and everything, and there's going to be unemployment. Obviously, at a certain point, people are going to have to exit the government. It's a large number. Don't know what their plans are. You might want to put. I don't know if they'll answer you honestly. You might not. Right. Probably won't give you that information. Like, what are their plans once they leave government? To be a contractor and make twice as much money. That's my plans. and then you got to pay twice as much for what I do. So much for Doge. I'm the guy you need to take care of. I have all the information. Believe me, even though I was asleep, God was showing me this contractor bullshit they were pulling. And then it turns out they're deep state to begin with. Right. Man. Right. Part of my hit was deep state contractors. Thanks, Larry. Yeah, contractors are criminally operating spies. Some of them. Thank you, Larry. That's how they got into our offices. Right. So I'm still out walking. I gotta lose weight, man. Believe me. I don't want my blood pressure going crazy. What's happened is my right side's relaxing a little bit. And that may be coming from releasing the cranial tissues, which may have been what I was required to do to get this to go anywhere. Right. Kind of a day late and dollar short, but better now than never. Right. Thank you, Larry. No, they weren't supposed to be in my life like this. I'd have been a healthy man, very healthy man. I mean, just by the nature of having 2 massages a month or 3 massages, I'd have been a healthy man. But they tortured me around massages over and over again. Again, and we don't know what drugs they use. We don't know what direct energy they use. I mean, they use it. Face it. And they're devils, demons, antichrists, witches, and sorcerers. Well, again, when we look at the unemployment scenarios coming down the pike, we got to prepare for It may not be as bad as they perceive because, again, there's some alternative financial decisions or economic decisions that are being made. But we need to, again, you can come out a hero to a certain degree if you help people through it. And it may not cost you, the federal government, as much as it has in the past if you prepare for it. And again, the other programs, help people find jobs, help people retrain. Right. Again, there's money already out there. A lot of times it's just marrying up the person with the money, and there's a lot of state programs. And Biden trickled a lot of money down, and then Trump, even before, trickled a lot of money down to the states for retraining. Right. Thank you, Larry. I mean, I perceive people are just going to plop on unemployment for a while, right, and then try to figure it out, or just retire. Right. So you first have to have an assessment of what you perceive is going to happen. Then, and again, given several different scenarios, don't just focus on one. Right. Then you have to develop a plan of action, which involves unemployment insurance and retraining, job. I think we did this one last time. I brought it up. We have to have job like headhunters. You can have federal, state, and local headhunters if there's money out there to finance those positions. So essentially, I guess unemployment offices have that kind of thing, or maybe not. I don't know. It's just to help the person get to the next job. Right. Thank you, Larry. Well, if you don't do that, then there could be larger lapses between employment, and then there might be a cry for unemployment subsidy, like to send additional money to the states, and then that's going to cost. So if you start now, and we probably should have already started, but if you start now, you might be able to head off any critical mass doomsday scenario. Right. Thank you, Larry. So what I would do also is anybody in the federal government that's going to be phasing out their job and are leaving, and some have already left. You could even send mailers if they would accept it to their. Who knows where they live? They may have already moved. But providing information. Like in the military, when I left, they had started the ACAP program, which is essentially a transition program. So you want to provide information for transition. So again, contractors. You could also bring contractors in to your government workplaces and have them recruit. Again, some of these people, face it, that's who they're going to work for. So again, to stave off critical mass doomsday unemployment insurance scenario, you could provide a nexus between this position they're holding at the current moment and then future, the next employment scenario. Even if they do go on unemployment for a basic period of time, they won't, it won't be a requirement to extend it, and then, states will be asking the federal government for additional money at that point. Congressmen, senators, right? So essentially, you're seeking to avoid critical mass doomsday unemployment insurance scenarios, right? And help them find their next job, and help the contractor marry up with the government. And some of these people aren't at work anymore. I guess they took it and then they walked off. I guess, and they sit at home and collect a check. That's going to cause people just to want to be unemployed. Like, this is great. My life was tough, all of you. I would have traded this disability for a normal life any day. And I'm not the type of guy that wanted to get out of the government. I wasn't at all. Right. What it was is they wanted me not to be there for whatever reason. I think most of it was just bullshit to begin with. Right. So, and so they started psychologically operating me and trying to make a reason. Right. And then I started investigating them, and I think that's when they lost it. Right. I may not have been the only one investigating them. Thank you, Arch. Well, you probably should have stayed away from me and let me just heal. I mean, that's reality. Again, we don't know all that they used. There's no way to know. I mean, their intrusion and their access was just off the charts, beyond the pale. I mean, hey, come on, they break into my apartment and laugh. I'll go to hell just for that. Oh shit! That's what they do. They like to laugh in your head, so I laugh at them back. Actually, that's God. That's not me. I don't act like that. God speaks through me. Some people know that God speaks through me at times. No, they know. They're just not going to say anything. You'll kill them. Like God will send messages to people. Like people will be like with Jesus, and they knew he was with God. Again, I'm a sinner saved by grace. We're just gonna, we'll cut it at that for now. But the reality is that people know him with God. So the same way they knew that Jesus was with God, right? Well, because I'm saying stuff that only God knows. Okay, like there's things I say that doesn't mean anything to you, that means something to some people that hear it, and it tells them that I'm with God, kind of, because there's no way for me to know what I'm saying. But it's just a regular statement. But for a person that has had something happen in their life, they're like, okay, he's with God. Right. It means something. Trying to stay on my feet. I don't want to just like slop around and lay in bed all day. That's where I went wrong. It wasn't for, I didn't do it all the time, but I spent too much time laying in bed. This happened. And at a point, I just couldn't get the energy to, again, with the PSYOP a little bit, but that probably wasn't any better. Right. I wouldn't be in this condition, not one bit. They knew what they were doing. They did it to other people. That's one of their weird things. Like, oh, we're healthy. What's wrong with you? I'm in heaven and you're in hell. What's wrong with you? But again, that's God. Oh, see? No, I'm just like a total, just, what would they call it? I'm like a little one. Really, I was refining myself to be a little one. They came along. God showed up, and next thing you know, I'm not the little one I used to be. That's Hashem. No, I'm supposed to like I was like real easy. Like they were like, Lawrence, you're just like so easy. They're like, hey, you want to be baptized? Oh yeah, sure, okay. And like so Hashem had me like go in reverse. I don't feel like it. And then they have to go through the motion. Oh, come on, Lawrence. It's very important that you do this. No, I spend time in people's heads, so like I might know Munson like intimately. I mean, Munson and I may have come up with a few sermons together. Right? But I never lived my life, so I didn't have a chance to be like. You get a little help from your friends. I'm definitely one of Munson's friends. I just don't know. Right? Again, the church called the Friends. That's a hint of who we're actually supposed to be friends. That's a good description of creation. We're supposed to be friends. So that's why if you look at the Friends Church, a lot of it makes sense. Right? As far as this, it's similar to LDS as far as service. Right? I'm one of the most intelligent people on the planet. Based upon the life I have, probably most people couldn't even have one useful thought after having that done to them. Right? Going to hell, man. This is again. I tried to tell you years ago, and whether you heard it or not, I'm not part of your system. You blocked me from you hearing me. It's your fault. It's not my fault. Right. So that thing isn't coming until next week, so it's okay. Right. They gave me an Amazon delivery number, and it doesn't make any sense. I don't think Amazon's delivering it. Right. So he did something in the computer this time, and he goes, "Oh, it's it's here, and it'll be there on this date." But I told him, it's like, I like to know when it's coming because they leave it outside sometimes, and I want to be able to take it inside. I don't want to leave it outside. Right? I mean, obviously you can sterilize it, but they'll probably send it in a package. Yeah, they won't. They won't send it without a package probably, so I won't have to worry as much. I just got to figure out. I'm going to call them. I says I'll make it a suggestion if they don't. I'll just tell them. You should sell these things for like $5 or something. All right, as a replacement for it. At this point, right, and then I'd order 4 of them, and I'd have them here, and I wouldn't bug you, if it breaks because it's a flimsy part. But again, it's still a nice device. It's kind of a portable sinus rinser. I mean, it's horrible that they actually did this to me. Yeah, it was cranial tissues that were killing me. So I was getting all those freaking massages, and I couldn't get anybody to massage the right muscles. It's above the ear, essentially. Right. And I also just needed to put the arnica gel on my head, and it helped. So again, it's blindness. Again, then it's amazing the information. Again, God shows things in certain ways. Like you see all the information I have, and I don't have information to have a nice life. So again, like God will say, "Look, I can show you where anything is in a second, but I haven't been able to show you about where your wife is. It's them. It's not. It's not God. This is their planet. It's not God's planet because you all sold. Church is sold. Well, Satan gets them, and some of it, like I said, is direct operation. So if I'm looking at a church as one of these evil operators, the devils, right, and I don't want Larry in that church, I need people in that church to do what I want them to do. Now I might be able to pay the money, but what do I do? Well, I start, in their case, they might make them a sex offender, and then that church will forever be, beholden to the person that has that information. Right. Or at least if they do a fishing, they'll do a lot of fishing expedition. Like, oh, maybe they did this, and then all of a sudden, right, you think they know, and right. So what happened in the church with all that kind of crazy crime is that again, spells are real. So there's several things. So when they pick fights with like transgender and gay people, then they get it back, and some of those people are witches and things like that. Right. So again, you open yourself up with that. Right. Now, I had already been before I used anything. I had been cursed for years. Right. Thank you, Larry. Oh my God. And they sigh out. I mean, it's just horrible. I'm an honest. People know I'm an honest person, and all I'm looking for is a wife. Right. And it's like a church. I definitely was, when I came out of the government, I was just looking for a wife in a church. Looking for a church, and then find a woman in the church, get married, and then eventually I realized I could speak finally. I could never even. I mean, I can prepare. Like, what's that guy's name? And my English teacher, I did on drag racing. I did a presentation. It's like the first time I did any public speaking, and then I couldn't do more than just that. My life. I trained soldiers and things, so I could do a class. Could run a physical uh, a physical fitness class. I could also or session. And I could also prepare an op order, warning orders, and run a patrol. But nothing like a sermon. I just could never do it. And then as soon as God touched me, that was it. I've never shut up since. But I wonder if it's God, not me. I could be. I think I'm actually dead, and God like took over my body. But I'm not God. God's in there. So like I could preach. I wasn't going to do it right away because I figured I'd get a wife, normalize life, right, and then slowly help the preacher with maybe a preaching session here, a preaching session there. Right. Larry. I said, thank you, Larry. I'd like to say, you got it. You drove past. And this is just, they said, Larry. Again, thank you, Larry means several things, depending on the inference that comes through. In that instance, that guy's a Larry, and God's thanking me for healing it before I heal it. Right? Believe me, if he cuts the wrong person off in traffic, they'll ruin the person's life. That's how bad the deep states become. No, if you'd have stayed away from me, I'd have figured all this out before this. Again, the idea is I just needed to get to doctors and massage therapy, and you were blocking me from that, right? Aurora was horrible. That question is, what was Tren de Arega running their community back then? Like, did they call the hit on me? Who called the hit? Right? Could have been Tren de Arega, right? I mean, the cops are going, we don't have a Tren de Arega problem. Not at all. Why are they saying that? Correctly. So it is what it is. No, they weren't supposed to be in my life, man. This was not supposed to be happening to me. Not at all. Again, they beat you down and you forget what life's supposed to be. And you don't fight as hard. And then you fight less and you fight because it just wears you out. I mean, there's you realize there's shifts of these people? And there's more than one person on each shift? And they got endless reams of cash to pay people. And they have the ability to do like a background investigation on the people they're trying to, intimidate or hire and all that on to go after me. Thank you, Larry. Oops, I lost my connection. I mean, they're evil. Wait a minute, is this actually working? The audio is showing. Oh, there it is. They blocked my connection. Oh, you're trying to teach me a lesson? No, I think, let me explain what happened. All right. So we have pizza. No, not me. But I eat pizza every day. What's that? Is that on today? Kentucky Derby. Yeah, is it today? Yes, about 15 minutes. Oh, okay, cool. That's strange, but I'll heal that guy. Because most people, if you talk something like that, they'll curse you. If they curse people, right? So I'll heal them. Now here's a black man with a plate. No, I don't think it's a personal plate, but it's 534NGG, 534 NIG. Check that plate out. See if somebody specified that for him. Michael Larry. Thanks, Larry. So again, if somebody's in their thing, they might say it's NIG. Pull NIG over. Right. Oh my God. So it is what it is. Nah, if I would have caught this a few years back, my hearing would have never went down like this. Right. They're evil, man. They deserve to go to hell. No, I actually have it now where I have it around my shoulders, like just wrapped around me. So I don't have to hold it, and it doesn't press on my neck, and it doesn't press on my back. It's just like on the side of my shoulders. But I mean, people think I'm nuts probably for walking this much, but again, I'm not healthy enough to probably walk down the trail. Right? Maybe later, especially if the allergies subside a little. I definitely feel it in my throat. Thank you, Larry. I used to ride a bike 8 hours a day. I mean, they really got in the way of my life. I still would be able to do that if they hadn't got in my life. 100%, Larry. God. So again, this is not outside the norm of my exercise regimen. But I used to ride a bike for about 8 hours. Again, I would ride like 2 hours, stop at a mall or something, then ride another 2 hours, then like I don't know, go to somewhere else shopping. Right. Or I used to also get like a couple quarts of ice cream or something, and just sit on the side, munch it down. Fuel the second half of the ride, that kind of thing. That was great. Yeah, it was a horrible life because they isolated me, but I did the best I could, based upon having that horrible life. I just would hope to be able to get back on my bicycle. I don't know if that's possible, but again, I've had more movement in this thing since I've been releasing the cranial tissues than I've had in a long time. That's bizarre. Like I'm looking at the robin. The robin's looking down there at the trail, and I look down at the trail, and there's two people walking. The robin was looking at them. It's so weird. Like I'm sitting there right next to the robin. The robin doesn't give a shit, but he's looking down the trail with two people going down the trail. Now I'm pretty tired, to tell you the truth. So what has to happen is my right side has to weaken a little bit still. Right, but what was causing it to be tight is my neck and my cranial tissues. And one was triggering the next. I don't know if it's possible, but again, it was like that where I had more of a bilateral hip placement. So, and that's probably what's been wrong, and I just couldn't get it. I probably could have got released if I could have got anywhere, right? Again, I was trying to get a massage therapist in just like right after I got into that apartment. I just couldn't do it. I even still have the massage bed. I was just going to bring him in to the apartment. I just couldn't get to it. Again, they're devils, man. And you gave them too much time around me to do whatever it is they're doing. And of course, it's psychological torture and spells of a devil nature. So people are coming out walking again a little bit more. I noticed and people weren't walking as much, even though the weather wasn't perfect. I was just surprised this year, right? Got people golfing. I guess even golfing's off a little bit. Could be money. Everybody's broke. Won't have money. That's stupid Chung from the future. So you got to change your plans. Make sure people have money. He passed it back. They connected in somehow today. Stephen Chung just passed back that people aren't going to have money. So you need to avoid that. They don't buy that idea where it's just $18. They're not buying into that idea. Well, it's not going to work. Okay, it didn't work for Biden. It's not going to work for you. So again, quit being stupid. Thank you, Larry. Again, yeah, it involves all the psychological torture because it makes you uncomfortable with everything. So once I would relax, then that would all go away. Right. And actually did, right? Right. Yeah, that's actually what happened. Well, they took them away for a few weeks because I made the complaint. I said they're blocking me from medical treatment. They took them away, and then all of a sudden everything kind of neutralized. I just couldn't get to the idea that where I had a massage. Again, if I didn't think this was a sinus infection, that would have been fine. I said it was cranial tissues. But then again, how do you get it massaged? I found putting the arnica jelly works. Whew. Where am I at? I'm at 39 minutes. Now I gotta get my weight down. That's what I'm doing. Well, like I said, I'm not into deporting the barista. That's what I wanted to bring up because of the stat number you were looking for, which was a bullshit stat number, right? You decided that you would do that type of thing because there's no other way to get the numbers that the president was asking for. But you've already got those numbers based upon your security at the border. If you would, this is the point. If you would change the security at the border and you would change your hyper vigilant stuff, you would have additional people coming across the border. Nah, I don't think that's part of it. It is, but it's not probably not necessary as far as creating collaterals out of everyday people. Because what you're essentially doing is you're canceling their immigration date and kicking them out of the country. Right. And I think you made some mistakes there that's going to net some people millions of dollars. Right. So the idea is you begin to realize that number based upon the actual number that's not entering the United States. So what you need to do is you need to know that you're getting further forward than Biden was. Right. So again, if Biden was letting 9,000 in and deporting 1,000, and you're, only getting 500 in, right? Then, obviously you're making headway. Right. So that's the point. Instead of just the revolving deportation door, you actually have shut the door, and then you're just slowly getting rid of certain people. Again, we have an economy that requires immigrant labor, and that immigrant labor is not covered under the current work visa program. And that's because it's designed by rich people, including Republicans, to have cheap labor and cheap houses. Right. I agree, Harry. So again, it's like mental masturbation, I think they call it. It's insane. Like you're yelling at these people for being here, but they're here why? Because you need them. We needed some of that immigration. Again, the Biden administration did not do it the right way, and that's the problem. My whole point was, why are you letting anybody in that's not going to get a job? Okay, if they're disabled and they have an amnesty claim, fine. But you're letting able-bodied gang members in who have no intention of holding down a 9 to 5. We can't use them. We have no use for them here. In fact, they're going to mess things up. Now, once you have that system where you let people in to work, whether they're work visas or not, a certain number of those people will commit crimes. Just based upon the fact of human nature and just statistics and chance. Right? So again, as white people commit crimes, as black people, Latino people on immigration status will commit crimes at times. Right? So there's a certain number of those. That's just, par for the course. But again, the controls were not met. Simply, if they would require them to work, then that would have been one controlling factor. Right? And as soon as they didn't work, then they would go. Right? Let me heal this kid. The kid's got something like horrible in his future. I just felt it, so I healed that. Now it's a little kid. I don't know what part of life, but yeah, we had. Oh God, yeah. Okay, he looked at the barbecue and sent me the message. We've been a house fire, burned alive. That's gone now. That's really the world. We could all do that if you would all just stop the bullshit. We could just heal everything away. 100%. We could see it and heal it. Thank you, Larry. Well, that's how you should have run it. You should have said, well, I mean, you have a certain number that are going to be waivers because maybe an elderly person with a valid claim, a disabled person with a valid claim, right? But then again, you tell them they either work or they're gone, right? Thank you, Larry. And that in itself would have neutralize some of the mess. Thanks, Larry. And then you enlist corporations that normally hire these people to be to have representatives down in Texas with you. And when they come in, you see if you can link them up with a job. Again, you can give them a month, get a job, 2 months, whatever it is, but they have to check in with their job, and then you call the employer. Now, again, of course, there'll be some fraud there, so you're going to have to put an investigative effort into it eventually. Right. Thank you, Larry. Well, there was no way to drop that inflation without that type of employment, because again, Trump had that during his time of employment. Now they're following this lady and her kid. I mean, they're not intentionally doing it; it's just happening spiritually. Oh, is it a girl? I thought it was a boy. I think it was a girl. Oh, okay, I see. You know, that's going to be one of our transgender people of the future. But not now. Theoretically, if the healing worked. And it's that simple, really. Right? But if I keep healing people, like if I can see that they're slated to be transgenders and they're like 3 years old or 5 years old, I can heal that, and then eventually something like the science that I'm speaking about would manifest. They would figure out how to fix it, right? Generally speaking, right? Although it could heal the individual person because it might be a culture that they get into, could be some event in their life that causes it, something they're eating, and then they would eat a different diet or whatever it is. Right? Thank you, Larry. We're doing this to you. They try to convince the world that they're not doing what I'm saying they're doing. They've been doing it for decades, and they're still doing it. I mean, all you do is live your life, and they know it. Because I get into wherever I am, and then I forget about all the other stuff. Right? Maybe that's human nature for everyone. I don't know. So they're trying to keep it active, so I talk about it, and then they say they have to destroy me because I talk about it. So again, they betrayed whoever they work for, to tell you the truth. Except for the people that are actually running the murder contract, because that's what they're looking for. And murder includes suicide. Right? So again, when you see like 4 cops killing themselves, that's the deep state. They're running psyop. It's like in Houston there. And remember, Houston's where Carnaby was killed. So Houston's probably a place where they run those operations. I believe the cop knew who Carnaby, at least who Carnaby's vehicle was. And I think he was trying to figure out who he was because they kept seeing him. Correct. And there was the deep state stuff going on. Carney was probably deep state, most likely. And he could have been a deep state hit, but the way it went down, I would say he's probably deep state. And the officer saw him and wanted to figure out who he was. Right. No, they might, kill off officers every so often so they don't have a Carnaby happen again. Right. They could be into that mode. Whew. What a day, huh? What a day, people. What a day. I know you enjoy listening to me all day here at the Fusion Center monitoring room. You crack me up, Larry. They hate me so bad. They shouldn't hate me. They should I took care of everybody, man. Right? Even my enemies. But of course, they wouldn't let it be because they're insanos. Let's see. It's time for my rapid. I don't think I took my rapid rehydration today, but boy, I took too much yesterday, and then I had all that salt. It was crazy last night. I just get up and faucet. It's crazy, man. At a certain point, it wouldn't work. I'm like, oh, my prostate broke it. But it just, then I remembered. Thank God I haven't remember all the salty food I ate and and the hydration of that. God said, just drink. I said, drink like a half a bottle of like 8 ounces of regular water, and it'll fix. I drank 8 ounces. About an hour later, it was fine. Yeah, I gotta be careful not to drink too much of the hydration. But again, usually I'm fine until I didn't realize the samosas were like, I don't know, I think 250 milligrams of salt a piece, and they're not that big. So I kind of shouldn't have bought the samosas. The other one isn't as bad, right? And there's 2.5 grams of fat in the samosa, whereas the doses are like 1 gram. But there are doses with that much and more. Whew! Now I can't sit down. I need another hour of walking. I mean, like 9 minutes. Healed. I can't tell if that's a boy or a girl. So again, I got to keep healing that. It's what I saw is real. It's just the question is, that kid's going to be trans if they're not healed. Right? So again, everything can be healed. Everything can be seen until the hate picks up. Once the hate picks up, then the mind, the psychic mind. How you doing? How are you? All right. The psychic mind is crushed, and then you can't see. Right. And when you can't see what to heal. So everybody's a healer actually, and everybody wants to heal. But how do you get to that point? Like I was asleep 40 years of my life, didn't know anything. I would pray, but I didn't know anything about healing, didn't know about seeing. I actually know things about people they don't know about themselves, like if they're sick and things like that. Again, I'm down now, and I've been down for years. But when I woke up, when I left the government, I could see people that need healing everywhere. Right. And I heal a lot of people. I don't know these people. Like when I get to heaven, like that's where I meet them. Right. Not all of them, but some of them. Because I would walk through Miami, Lincoln Drive, I think it's called. It's just a bunch of cafes. It used to be a road, I guess, and they stopped cars from going down it or something. Or maybe it's always been like that. I don't know. But there's no cars, but it's like a wide road size opening, and there's cafes on each side and stores, like the small boutique stores, and right. So I'd walk down that, and it'd be busy with all the people on like a Friday night, and I'd be out walking, just exercising. But I would do like hand gestures, but people would think I'm like practicing martial arts or something while I'm walking. But I'm actually healing people because I'm actually pointing at the person I'm healing when I move the thought. Right. I guaranteed that night I healed probably at least 100 people in one fell swoop, 100 to 200 people, I'm sure. So these are people that did somehow experience an up in life based upon what I did. Oh my God. So no wonder Satan wants to kill me, right? No good deed goes unpunished. Right. These are people that some became millionaires because of it. But if the deep state saw me directly heal that person, they would curse that person. So that's the best way to handle it, like from afar, like that, when they're like targeting me and anybody I would heal. Right. Oh my God. People, believe me, and again, online, I've done things that have enriching people and made things. Well, I've fixed the market, and all sorts of stuff. I can't fix the market now. Not allowed to. If I would actually go to fix the market, knowing that God doesn't want me to fix the market, God could punish me if He wanted to. He probably wouldn't punish me, but I can't do it. See, that's the stupid part of it. I can't fix the market if God doesn't want me to fix the market because I don't have any power but God's. Right? Well, you probably should have let me up. If you wanted to mark it up, you should have let me up. Thank you, Larry. I'm still not up because I can't get my case moving forward yet. That just sucks because I could have moved that case forward years ago. A lawyer, right? Sometimes, like the VA, that's all it takes. Until you get a lawyer, they don't respect you, right? Right. Because I mean, that's one of the things where they go, okay, this guy's got a lawyer, let's do something. Otherwise, they have too many people. Yeah, they should have been forced to just let me be. There's no doubt. We agree, Larry. I mean, the operation they were running against me should have ran against them until they go away. Correct. It was that simple. Live by the sword, die by the sword. All right. Thank you, Larry. Now all they had to do is be forced to stay away from me. That's it. Correct. And then my life would have just picked up naturally. It's weird because they say it takes like a couple weeks to a month for your ears to adjust to the hearing aid, and that's real. It's like because it was just really weird until now. I guess everything was like sometimes too loud, and right. Now it kind of sounds a little more natural. Right. I kind of wear it day and night, but at night a lot of times it's just hanging off my ear. Right. It's not full force in the ear. But you have to be careful because then there's feedback. I'll be laying there. So but like I'll have a thought and then like God will give it a feedback to say, yeah, see, that's right. The thought's on the right direction. God used it like a seeing thing. This is weird over here. Right. They willed it, and it's a pretty strong curse. But I'm not sure who, where, when. Well, I get near this window and I get a vision like they want me to like break this window. So I have no idea who in the hell cursed that. Right? It's a pretty thick window, I think. There's no way I would. Actually, it's not that thick. I guess. It's dual pane or whatever. No way would I break it. But it's here. I can see it. I can heal it. Now, I've been watching it for about a week now. I got to heal probably everything in the world. I just had to stop killing me. Oh my gosh. Actually, my fan doesn't look that bad when it's clean. Still isn't. It doesn't look too bad. I wish it was in better condition, but it doesn't look too bad, I guess, from a distance. It's been beat up. I should have just let me be. I should have went to Salt Lake City. That's what would have worked for me, I think. Right. And then I was still well enough. Again, I would have had to figure out how to get massage. I probably would have figured out how to get massage. All right. And medical treatment. I should have been around a concentration of Mormons. I don't know why I don't want to be called Mormons. It's kind of weird. I think actually I think Joseph Smith may have ordered something like that. I'm not sure. No, like the guy last night, he was online. He's like I don't know. He's helps around the church. He's a nice guy, right? And he I met him online in one of the classes, and then he was at the church, and he goes out of his way to introduce himself, and so does his wife. And his wife, it turns out, she said last night, she's mentors like and teaches the uh, teen girls and just really salt of the earth people. Right. Thank you, Larry. I began living a life that I probably should have lived. That, quote unquote, that I earned. Again, sinner saved by grace. We don't usually say that we earned the life, but based upon what's going on the planet, that's the kind of life I earned, right, and better. I guess their house is about 400,000. But it's funny. I think if you look in like the photo online from the house, it's a different color, and they bought it, and I think they painted it white. I'm not sure, but I think they may have painted it white. The LDS color. It was like a cream off white color, and now it's white. Right. So what God has told me that Satan's doing there is he's trying to get me jealous and mad at these people. He does it all. He does it like everywhere in my life. There's stuff going on like that. So again, the trial isn't necessarily just physical things happening. There's all Satan trying to get me mad at all these people, and of course, some people deserve the wrath of God, and those are the people I speak about, the things that we wrestle against. And again, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's some porn person or some prostitute or some drug dealer or something like that. It's the power thing or power person or power group of people that are causing that stuff to exist. Right. Yeah. Thank you, man. I mean, it just boggles the mind what they did. Well, I guess they got caught up. Some of them got caught up in cancel culture. Right. This guy's delivering a pizza. It's a Kentucky Derby. It took them that long to find a place for the pizza. Oh my God. Let me heal this guy. I guess that's why I'm standing out here. Now I can go inside. It's kind of depressing in my apartment, really. It's not a well lit apartment at all. At this point, I wish I'd have moved up the Shawnee Mission. Right? I'd be right real near the church too. Right? There was like a bungalow, but it was $1,500 a month, and I just didn't feel like that was a price point that I could do. Right? But again, when you don't know whether it's direct energy or what they're using, again, I'm not crazy for considering that. Again, simply what has happened to me over the years in my life. Right? I wanted at least a second floor. Right? Then they have to go through my neighbor's apartment to get me. It was a satellite or something. So the bungalow was just one floor. It's like row homes, but there were bungalows. It was real nice, but it was just probably not for me, or I thought it wasn't for me. Given the price point, I'm still only at 1,200 here, but again, I have a garage also, which I spent another 1,000 for that. But I don't have a storage unit or that. The thing about here is if you get like a 2 bedroom, it's expensive. It's like 1,500. Right? I would have rather got a 2 bedroom here, right, for 1,500 than the bungalow. Then you got higher utility costs and everything. Unless you can get your health back and get on your bicycle all day, then you don't have much because you're on your bicycle all day. They knew what they were doing. They've done it to other people. It's a murder contract, is what it is. Thanks, Larry. Thanks, Larry. The rest is just part of the fluff to cover over what they're actually doing. Oh, I'm not out healing your community and your churches because of all of you. If you would have refrained from what you were doing, I'd still be out there driving around healing your communities. 100%. Again, they'll try to flip it around. Well, he shouldn't you? The jerk for not doing it, huh? There's that lady on her little handicap scooter. Heal her. Yeah, I had for days my right side was all cramped up. I have some relief on that today. Right. I actually slept an extra hour or so this morning. I think I slept way better last night than in a long time. So hopefully this is healing a little bit. No, I'm not condemning you to hell. The Bible condemns you all to hell and actually forgives the other people. Again, you don't have to say Jesus to be forgiven because there's other mechanisms that Jesus spoke about. Right. Now, as far as not accepting Jesus, that's a much confused topic. Because if the God of this world blinds your mind lest you see the glorious gospel of Jesus Christ, then the God of this world and any of his minion and all these Satan incarnates that I speak about are responsible, not you. So you see, the information from the seventh angel is very important. Right? It tells you what's actually the Bible. I've received clips from people that said, when you speak, the Bible makes sense to me. When these preachers speak, it makes no sense to me. I mean, a lot of people grew up in the church and they believe what the preacher said, but then when I came along and they heard some of what I said, and again, probably some law enforcement officer somewhere, right? They said, again, now it makes sense to me. Like they just believed because for the sake of believing, But they're saying now they believe with understanding, right? That a lot of these, like one of the first things that God said, again, he said to me, "You're saved a million, 15 different ways. Don't worry." But he said this one preacher that was really disrespectful to me, right? That I had been his audio man before. When I returned to that church, he preached something he knew would insult me, right? So, thank you, Larry. So, thank you, Larry. And of course, anybody that knew me before knew that I had long hair and I had shaved my head. So, like in the Bible, it's like anything else. You can shave your head and be considered evil, and you can shave your head and be considered a Levite priest or something like that, right? So he used the one to insult me. But God told me, because wasn't awake really yet. I was still in the process. So God told me that that guy's father is actually going to heaven because he's spiritually blinded. There's no way for him to see it. At first, I didn't understand it. He just told me that guy's going to heaven, and that preacher has no clue that his father's going to heaven because he believes you have to 100% say Jesus, and get baptized. His father is spiritually blind. That's why he couldn't see it. So he's always lamenting in the church about his father not being saved. Right? And he has, father lived under his roof and he took care of him. Right? But again, the question is whether that preacher is going to heaven if he's insulting people with preaching for the deep state. 100% Larry. Thank you, Larry. So the thing I was waiting on is not going to be here for a while. So what do I do next? Oh, now he took out my life, and before I left the Marshal Service, they're trying to kill me, right? Trying to stress me out and kill me. So they isolate you. So by the grace of God, I was able to find a girlfriend, and she actually found me, and then they killed it. Right? Why'd they kill it? Because they're devils, demons, antichrists, witches, and sorcerers, and they commit crimes continually. They're not the savior of our nation or the protectors of our societies or communities. That's their illusion and their grifter fraud. Thanks, Larry. I got the permission to put that guy's son's name on the prayer walls. He says, don't leave out the last name. I don't even think I know his last name. But of course, right. All right. Stay peaceful. Praise God. I'll let you praise God.